How often do you procrastinate and postpone tasks in fear that the results may be frustrating? Maybe you broke up with someone special as they couldn't align with the perfect partner image in your head. Maybe you, yourself, can't live up to your own expectations no matter how hard you try. Don't worry. Today's episode of the HeyZen podcast will show you ways to step away from the aimless race and start noticing perfection in the imperfect world.
It's an informative podcast about mental wellness from HeyZen. Here, we debunk myths, discuss hot topics, and give practical advice to improve your mental health. It will be funny, insightful, and impressive.
You say you want things to be perfect, right? But have you ever achieved this perfection at least once in your life? Maybe you've ever said to yourself, yes, this person is absolutely perfect. Or, now my presentation is flawless. Probably you always found something to improve on, even after hours and days of hard work, because, well, the world, unfortunately, is not as black and white as we wish it to be. Before his exhibition in Paris, even Claude Monet destroyed his paintings, thinking of them as not up to his standards. It's unbelievable how much of our own brain distorts the valuable and beautiful things we create. Our problem stems from the fact that we're surrounded by proofs of others' greatness. We go to a museum to see an impeccable work of art everyone admires, and this colleague always manages to do the job so well and right on time. But look, we're too aware of our internal struggles, failures, and insecurities and know nothing about the failed attempts and first drafts of those high achievers. We're taught to think of perfection not as results of hard work and embarrassing failures, but as baseline, easy achievements. So here's the truth. There are no sudden successes. Think of how many commissions rejected that renowned architect and the agony in which that artist wrecked numerous of their artworks. To achieve something nearly perfect and meaningful, we need to put up with imperfection. Think of it as building a house. Seemingly imperfect, uneven, and ugly bricks come together to create a beautiful and steady house that you can truly appreciate. So first, we need to do things imperfectly to then do something so great that others will think of as a spontaneous and lucky success. Okay, so how can you actually start working on lessening the impact of perfectionism? First, you need to put up with performing good enough. Often, we decide to simply avoid doing our job and find many excuses or other tasks to do instead of this challenging one that we must do perfectly. This unachievable bar paralyzes us and leads to anxiety, depression, and other disorders. Basically, it's all because, at the end, we either fail to perform the task as perfectly as we wanted to, or we achieve success at the expense of our joy and happiness. We at HeyZen, as no one else, know how difficult it is to put up with the good enough mindset. But whenever you're stalling, ask yourself, is it better to finish the task with a good enough result or not finish at all? Also, what we've noticed is that no one can actually see the difference between this good enough result and the one that's perfect. People are happy to receive good quality work, and be sure your boss, clients, or tutors are very unlikely to notice unmatching colors, the wrong font, or anything else you were obsessed with refining. Then ask your peers or colleagues for help. Ask them to assess your work and point out the aspects that need improvement. The thing is that your perfectionist mind can see lots and lots of space for enhancement every time you subjectively assess your work. For you, it may never even be good enough. So ask others for their perspective. Probably they'll notice a few things to change to achieve a good result. And believe us, this will be enough. No redrafting and overdrafting your work again and again for the sake of illusionary perfection. Just a few tweaks to an already good work. What also helps to stop overwhelming yourself with absurd meticulousness is outlining a set of objective criteria for your good result. For instance, let's say you want to make a presentation that will have a certain number of words, won't have typos, will be useful for your audience, and will have a logical sequence. This way, you'll be guided by objective criteria you can tick off upon completing your task without unnecessary anxiety and stress. By the way, it's a great thing to concentrate on what the result of your work will bring to people and not how you're going to be perceived by them. Almost always, this unhealthy perfectionism comes from our trying to look better and more bright than we actually are. So we endlessly slog to create this image. When we shift our perspective to the benefits our work can bring to people, we stop focusing on how it shows us in the best light. Instead, we let our ego go and make things to be objectively useful and not illusionary perfect. So yes, basically, perfectionism is about what others will think of me. Compare it with the healthy striving that is directed inward and says, how can I improve for myself? With the first toxic mindset, we keep searching for flaws not only in our works and ourselves, but in others as well. We deprive ourselves of healthy and happy relationships by focusing on their downsides, on the problems we have, and on the weaknesses of our partners. Instead of noticing the things that expose the strengths of your loved ones, you notice their flaws and mistakes they make. To fill your life with more happiness and satisfaction, make an effort to notice cool things about yourself and your significant others. Yes, they may be slow walkers and hate dogs, but they also have a great sense of humor, cook excellently, and are so kind to everyone around them. No one is perfect, but the good sides we have not only outweigh the bad, but those flaws make the good more prominent. Perfect is not having only positive and white sides. It's a balanced range of different qualities that make each of us unique and worth appreciating. Apply this mindset to your works and projects as well. Instead of focusing on what it lacks, count the advantages of it first. Make it your habit and write it down to remember to consciously shift your gaze to the greatness of your works, yourself, and the people around you. In no time, you'll wonder how you could skip all the positive things in your life, concentrating on the downs only. Finally, to disrupt your obsession with perfection, make mistakes on purpose. This technique actually belongs to exposure therapy, when you show yourself that a small imperfection won't make the whole project, a day, or a person worthless. You can start small with wearing unmatching socks, for example, or not putting a comma in a sentence. Later, allow yourself to make not that insightful remarks, say things that are not that wise and deep, give presentations that are quite mediocre, or sing karaoke songs that don't match your voice pitch at all. Fail and be non-perfect on purpose to prove to yourself that it doesn't shatter your world, but vice versa. You enrich your life with joyful experiences that make your journey captivating and allow you to see the world in all its diversity. This is the end of today's episode. Remember that without failures and mistakes, we would never comprehend the true value of success and achievements. Perfection is always a balance of all sides of life that complement and build upon one another. So don't be afraid to fail or to be embarrassing. The brightest minds achieve their brightness through all types of experiences. They didn't stop at the beginning in fear of being judged, or they kept going despite it. Shouldn't we do the same? With HeyZen by your side, bravely continue the journey to self-acceptance and health. See you in the next episode.